Oh, that we haven't actually opened the podcast.
No, let's get into it.
That's
That reminded me of Seinfeld. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs. I didn't say that last episode.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
I'm pretty sure you did.
I already forgot, and it was 30 minutes ago. Maybe
Yeah.
40.
Yeah. Welcome back. We are happy you're here. We're happy to be here.
Dose. Episode dose of the new run.
Do we call these like, are they like seasons or like what are
We've
they?
never called them seasons because the goal has always been to just go.
Yeah.
And don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's just another episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should
see.
we do... At the very least, I need to do like episode and then the number.
Well,
because I haven't done that, and it just looks better if it said like episode 300,000,004.
wait. I thought you did do that because you were just talking about episode 100.
Not in the title when I put it online.
Oh,
It just
okay.
says it's number blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
But like I could put episode 302 or episode 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That way when I say, hey, we talked about this on episode, then...
Yeah, that would actually probably be very helpful.
Except I don't remember the number. I just know that we talked about it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Anyway, maybe that's not important.
I don't know. Not seasons. We're not doing seasons. We're just back again.
Back again. So today, we're going to talk about our car accident that happened.
What car accident, Veronica? I haven't listened in 6 months.
We got into a pretty bad car accident on a wedding day.
If you haven't listened to the previous podcast at this point, probably do that first because it explains where we've been, things that have happened that caused the hiatus to start, and why we're just not getting back into it. The car accident was mentioned. We're going to dive into it.
Yeah. Where do we start?
So maybe just like from the beginning, we had just gotten back from Lake Como. Ari had surgery, and then we had a wedding, local wedding. And this was actually a 3-day wedding. They had a rehearsal, welcome party, because most of the guests were from out of town, including the couple.
So we photographed rehearsal, welcome party, and then the wedding day on Saturday.
Yep. So we had been with this group for 2.5 days at this point.
Yeah. Which we love doing, by the way. Like that's like our favorite type of like weddings that we do. It's like multiple day events. It's so fun.
I feel like that kind of helped also with how everything went.
Oh, for sure. Like because of that, and we have talked about this before, but the more time that we get with our clients and their families, obviously the better relationships that we get to form. So it was honestly a blessing that we had so much time already with this family, because it could have went differently than how it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So let's get into it. We were shooting this wedding. We had already done the ceremony. We were taking photos in Forest Park.
Yeah. And
our second shooters had already left Forest Park to go to the reception hall. It's not a hall. It's a venue.
Yeah, and we were on our way. We were heading there, and basically we were at a 4-way intersection. I was driving. Alex was in the passenger seat. And we were going through a 4-way intersection. We had a green light, and a car literally came out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know what had happened until it was over. It was so quick, a blink of an eye. Came and just sideswiped us.
Not sideswiped,
or I guess T-boned us right on the driver's side.
Basically, we go through the intersection, insane. Like we're driving because we have a green light. You think green light, go. We're going already. We went, and then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, I might have blacked out because I don't remember anything except...
Yeah, I think you did black out because... So let me kind of try to like paint the picture. So we're going through the intersection. I have a green light. The car hits us. When I say we didn't know it happened until it happened, I'm so for real. Like, if you've ever been into a car accident like that, then you know what I'm saying. we didn't know it had happened until it was over. It happens. I open my eyes. The airbag is in front of my face. Airbags are all around. I immediately look over at Alex, and he's fine, as from what I can see. And I immediately am like touching him. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's looking at me, but he's not answering me. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I keep repeating myself. And I probably had to say it probably 5 or 6 times until you were finally like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I was like, I was getting like, obviously I was already like panicking, but I'm like, can he hear, like, can he hear me? Like, I didn't know what was happening because you were not answering me and it was really scary.
Yeah.
Finally you were like, I'm okay. I think you literally just like, I think you did like black out for just like a second, just from like the shock and everything. My ears were ringing. Everything was muffled. It literally, like, I can only imagine that that's similar to like what like when a bomb goes off and like.
I wouldn't say it's like a bomb. It's more like if a gunshot happens right by your ear.
Like it was so muffled.
It is an explosive impact. Like when the airbags go off, that's why there's smoke.
Yeah.
It's because the side curtain airbags went off and it was a right in our ears. So my right ear was ringing, your left ear was ringing.
I mean, both of mine were ringing.
But yeah, and it was a little smoky and it smelled like burning.
Yeah. And then, you know, Alex finally answers me. He says, I'm fine. I'm okay. And I'm like, okay. And I just like look around. I realized that we had been hit on my side of the car, because I couldn't really get my door open. And I was like, I'm not going to force it because I don't know what's on the other side of the door because the airbag was blocking the window. We couldn't see out of the car at all, which was kind of terrifying to begin with.
But also it helps that there's that many airbags in the car.
Yeah. And then immediately, through the car comes a voice, emergency response. And it wasn't a robot, which I was just like, I've never been in a car accident of this caliber. So
especially with a modern car that has like,
I was like so impressed.
So like, it's like CarStar was like the first one, or was it OnStar?
I think it was OnStar.
OnStar was the very first model. This was a BMW
and it was just like a regular guy from a dispatch being like, we've sensed that your vehicle has been in a car accident. Airbags have deployed. Can you give me your location?
Well, no, it didn't even need that. It actually had.
Oh, it had our location. What were they asking?
They asked if we were okay, if we needed, like if anybody
emergency
was
assistance,
hurt, if we need emergency assistance, if we need a tow, if we need police.
Yeah.
All the things. On the screen, I noticed, had our location, but it was in coordinates.
Okay, yeah,
like
for the dispatch.
Like it was literally, like, I guess so if you were in the middle of nowhere and you have no idea where you're at.
You give them the coordinates.
You give them the coordinates. Like, that was on the screen for us in case...
Yeah.
You know.
So impressive.
It was so, I'm impressed.
So impressive.
But we told him, doesn't seem like there's anybody majorly hurt with any ambulance.
That we knew of. We hadn't got out of the car yet. So we didn't know how the other people were.
I said, definitely send police. Let me check to see if anybody's there. There was no other car to be found.
So we get out of the car. And I didn't really know where I was at even. Like, I had an idea because of...
We knew what intersection we were in.
Yeah, but so I climb out of the car, like I have to push the door open, and I'm expecting there to be a vehicle there because it literally hit me. Well, I get out and there is no vehicle. And I'm like, okay, so like an elephant just like stomped on us and like ran away. Like, where's the other freaking car?
I mean, I hate to say it, but we were in the city, so I knew exactly what happened.
So literally the person hit us and then drove away. But I was like, how did they hit us that hard? They were easily going 50 to 60 miles an hour. How did they hit us that hard and then drive away? Like, how were they able to drive away?
Right.
So that was my first thing. I was like, okay, so there's not a car here, but like, how is their car okay? I don't understand. So anyway, it was very chaotic. Our car, if you can imagine, was going through the intersection, but they hit us so hard that it pushed us, I would say, almost like if there were other lanes, probably 2 lanes over. We were pretty far over, like to the median where the stoplights were, which was pretty far from us.
Yeah.
And it's in front of the Chase Park Plaza, so there's valet people there, there's guests at the Chase, there's all kinds of, there's security, there's people there at the Chase, which is not where we were going, but that's the main like building that was right there in front of us.
And that's one of the hotels where half of the guests were staying in.
Yeah.
So there were some of the guests that saw what happened.
So
on their way to the venue.
Yeah. So I get out and I'm like looking around, and I think that I still call 911 because they had not arrived yet. So
yeah, they took a long time to get there.
I think that I called 911. I can't fully remember, but I am pretty sure that I did. And then I was on the phone with them, standing in the middle of this intersection, but like near the car. And then there was a person across the street. There were actually two people across the street. One of them was like a security guard at a different spot.
At the Chase, but she was off dirty. She had just gotten off.
Yeah. And she was like, "Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay?" And I was like, "I think that we're okay." And I asked her, I was like, "Did you see what happened?" Obviously, I have no idea what happened. And she was like, "They came out of, they definitely ran a red light and hit you, and then it spun them around the wrong direction, and then they whipped around and then just drove off." And I was like, did you see what kind of car it was? Did you see the make? Did you see, like, I'm asking all these things, and she didn't really know what kind of car it was. She was just like, "It drove away." And I was like, "Oh my God. Okay." I'm like, "Well, will you stay for a witness?" Cause the police still had not arrived.
Yeah. And I called, who did you call? Cause I called Jaren.
I called your mom. So in the midst of that, I'm on the phone waiting for like police to arrive because they were like, "Don't hang up." I'm talking to this lady while I'm on the phone. And then across the block, there's like a guest over there. And she's like, "Are you Julia and Devin's wedding photographer?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I am. Yeah." And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'll be fine." I didn't know what to say. So I was like, "We'll be there as soon as we can," is like what I said. I was like, "We'll be there as soon as we can." And she was like, "Okay." And like, she just like walked away because she was going to the reception.
Yeah. And I called Jaren and was it Candace? Mm-hmm. Were already at the reception. Mm-hmm. So luckily they had just gotten there. They hadn't valeted yet. I told Jaren, "I need you to come back and get all the gear for me." Because he had his gear, but we had all of the support gear, all of my gear. Mm-hmm. So
because we didn't know if we didn't know how this was going to go. So we were like, we need to treat this situation as if we're not going to be able to go.
Like we won't be back.
Yeah. So like Alex said, he called Jaren. Jaren came to this accident and got all of our gear, and we told him, we were like, "Hey, you and Candace, go about it like it's your wedding day. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how long this is going to take. Just shoot it like it's yours and like how we would shoot it. We trust you. Just do your thing." And he was like, "Okay." Like, thank God for Jaren and Candace, but also thank God that they were not with us.
Yep.
Because a lot of the times they ride with us on wedding days, mm-hmm. and for whatever reason, I can't really remember.
We started separate.
Is that what it was?
I think so, yeah.
They rode separately, and like, oh my God, I'm so glad that they were not in the car with us. Obviously for their safety and things like that, but also because they were able to just take care of business for us.
Yep.
So Jaren comes and gets the stuff, and then we did have a wedding planner. Shout out to Sabrina. I could cry just like thinking about how amazing she was. I called her and I was like, "Sabrina," and I was like, I wasn't crying until I got on the phone with her. Mm-hmm. Like, I was in such a panic that there was like I just like couldn't even cry. But I got on the phone with her and I was like, "We just got into a car accident. I can't drive my car. Airbags are deployed. It's bad. I don't know what to do." And she was like, "Well, have police gotten there yet?" And I was like, they were actually like just arriving at that time, I think. And I was like, "They're here. I don't know how long it's going to be." And she was like, "Okay, well," she's like, "Call me back when you know if you're going to come back or not, and I will come and get you and we'll get it taken care of. Like, it's going to be fine." And then she gave me just like a little bit of reassurance. She was like, "This is an hour and a half cocktail hour, and we are only like 35 minutes in, you have time. So just take care of what you need to take care of. Call me and I will come and get you if I need to. And I was like, okay. So the car accident, like if anything was going to happen during that day, that was like the gap of time that it was going to happen.
Yeah. Like that's when it needed to happen.
Yeah.
If it was going to happen.
Yeah. Because we had enough time.
Because, I mean, spoiler alert, we didn't miss anything.
No, we didn't, which is insane.
We got, well, spoiler alert again, we got back to the wedding and didn't end up missing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into like all the crap with like police report,
cop got
whatever.
There. They were able to find the guy. So that was a plus that they found the guy. That was the biggest worry. So that was fine. Cop said he took care of the car. He would make sure that it got towed so we could get to this event. Sabrina came, picked us up.
We had to get everything out of our car, that like is like of personal value.
Yeah. Anything we definitely would need to.
I mean, Jaron had already gotten like all of our gear and stuff, but like we had like other like personal things in our car, obviously. So it's like, it was like, okay, just take what we absolutely need and leave everything else. But the irritating part about that was we didn't know where the vehicle was going. So we were like, we just have to trust that it's going to be okay. And my door wouldn't close all the way.
And it wouldn't lock.
So I was like, whatever we leave behind, we need to be okay with not getting back, basically.
That like the lock feature wouldn't work because of the nature of what happened. Yeah.
So, we get to reception. So Sabrina does come and pick us up. And I'm like slightly hysterical. But I get my shit together by the time we get back to the reception, and we walk in, and the first person that sees us walk in, and which me and Alex were like, it's time to take care of business. Like,
yeah. And
like
preface is Veronica had whiplash.
Yeah.
I had like a really bad hip pain going on that was bothering me, but
we both obviously had like excruciating headaches, migraines.
The cop was like, do you need to be looked at? And I know from just not necessarily experience, but I know how the body works. And I was like, I'd rather wait because I'm not going to know the full extent until after the adrenaline kind of wears down, because it's masking some of the pain, which it was 100% sure that I did, because my hip wasn't hurting until like well into the reception. Well into the reception. I knew that it was going to be hurting because it started, but it didn't actually start hurting until we got there. So we did have some minor injuries, so that's important to know.
Yeah. So we walk in, cocktail hour is happening. The first person that sees us is the groom's mom, and someone had told her obviously what happened, and she also, I don't know if this is really that important to the story, but it kind of helps you understand like the relationship that we had with her. She's the one who like sought us out. She's the one who hired us. She was kind of delegated to take charge of that part of their wedding planning. So I had like a lot of back and forth communication with her. So I had a pretty good relationship with her. And she was like, oh my God, are you guys okay? Like, she's like, you don't have to finish this if you can't. And I was like, Kristen, I am not okay, but I'm also not leaving. So, and I was like, and this is where like, on a wedding day, you wear multiple hats. And I, at that moment was like, I don't want to talk to you about this. I was like, I just want to do my job. And she was like, I understand. And I was like, I told her, I was like, I will lose it. I will break down. I will not be okay if we talk about it. Like, can I just go work? And she was like, if you're okay with that, yes. And I was like, I'm totally fine with just going and working. Like, that's going to be the best thing for me right now. And she was like, okay.
And then, so we went to the vendor room.
So there was a vendor room, yeah.
We went to the vendor room, and
we both sat down for because we had time, so we both sat down for a second. And Jaron and Candace, during this time, were in the reception room getting detail photos. And they had already been getting cocktail hour stuff, and now they were doing detail photos, so we still had time to just, take a breather.
So I started taking, my lighting stuff, my tripod stuff that Jaron hadn't gotten to yet, and was starting to set it up in the reception space for speeches and getting all that prepped. and I was just pacing, and I just wasn't feeling right.
Yeah.
So eventually...
And I was just like, I thought that we were both like, it's business. Like, let's just get shit done. Like, let's work. Let's, whatever. So
and so did I thought that too.
And so I go into the reception room and I start taking photos of the details. And then, our family they knew about it. I was texting them, updated everybody. And my sister-in-law texted me and she was like, is Alex okay? And I was like, I mean, as okay as he's going to be, I think. And she was like, well, you might need to go check on him. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was just like with him. And what I didn't know is that you were like privately texting your brother, basically having an anxiety attack that I didn't know about because I was like I said, I was like, I just need to refocus my mind on work.
And that's partially why I was texting him, because I'm like, I need to get my brain off of this, and I need to not... And
you probably didn't want to bother me with it.
I need to make sure Veronica isn't pulled into it too. So I need to handle this so that I can handle business and actually do my job. The thing is
that you didn't know how to handle it because it was your first ever anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I go back in there and to the vendor room where you were like sorting your lighting and things like that. And I'm like, I didn't even ask you if you were okay. I was just like, hey, just don't do anything. Just take a moment. I was like, we got this. Like, I was like, I know that you're freaking out. I know that you're having an anxiety attack and you don't know how to manage it. I was like, so just sit here, and if you can't do anything the rest of the night, that's why we have a team. And I was like, literally, like, whatever you need to do, it's fine. And at that moment, like, I almost felt like numb. So really, like, I was okay to just do the day and just get it done. Are you about to cry?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm good.
Okay. I mean, I've talked about this in the podcast before, like, very briefly. I've dealt with a lot of traumatic things with my job in the past. So this wasn't really like, I was like, this is just like and me in general, I have had a lot of hardships in life. So I was like, I've had multiple anxiety attacks. I live with daily anxiety and panic attacks. So I was like, this is just, I know how to manage myself in a situation like this. So I was able to like handle this a lot easier than Alex was.
And I think the biggest thing for me wasn't necessarily the being able to work part. It was the anytime I stopped working for any length of time, it started to like crush me. So like when I was setting stuff up, I'm fine. I've done this a million times.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to the room and I'd stop and I'd pace and my brain would start firing again.
Yeah.
Because it's not only the accident, it's not only the wedding, but I'm a logistics guy. So it's everything encompassing.
You're already making a list.
All the uncertainty.
Yeah.
And everything that I need to get done because of this now, and it's adding to my list.
Yeah.
I'm making a list, yeah. So long story short, I got past that.
Yeah, I think, I feel like I was like kind of just like floating. Like I felt like I was just floating because I remember during first dancing, and I think that it was the father-daughter dance, and it was like, that was the last one, I think. And I remember looking through my viewfinder and taking photos. And then I look back down at my camera to look at the photo that I just took. And I was like, the lighting and everything looks really good. I was like, wow, everything looks really good. And then I was like, wait, how am I even doing this right now? I literally was like, I don't even know how I'm doing this right now. Because I was like, part of me was like, have I been and then I was like, wait, have I been even taking photos? So I was like going back and I was like, did I take all the other dancing photos? And I did, but it was almost like my body was on autopilot.
I was literally going to say that.
And I was just doing it. And it was really weird. It was almost like in that one specific moment, it's like I snapped back into it and I was like, oh, I'm photographing a wedding right now. And like, how is my composition, my lighting, my settings? How am I like so aware without being aware? It was like really weird.
It's same, literally. I don't remember really shooting much of reception.
No, I don't either.
The only part of reception I don't remember because of what I was shooting. I remember because it was during speeches and I was squatted down to not be in people's way, and my hip started hurting so bad while I was squatting down to stay out of people's way. That's the only reason I remember that.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the night, I just filmed everything that I could normally film and just went about my time, and I couldn't tell you what I shot. But,
you know when like when you're watching a movie and it's from like the main character's perspective, and the scene is like, it's a dramatic scene where it's like the main character is looking at something and they're so focused on it that all the audio around it is just like muffled and noise. I've experienced that 2 times in my life. Once when 2 seconds. Okay. Once, yeah, go ahead.
When your dad died?
It was very specifically when I like got to the hospital and his door was like
the first time
glass.
You saw him when he was in the hospital?
Yeah, and I got to his room and I saw him, and the doctor was standing with me and he was telling me things, and I was like looking at him.
And he sounded like a Charlie Brown teacher?
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything that he was saying to me, and I had to look at him and be like, I didn't hear a word he just said to me. So that, and then this time where it was just like, these speeches were happening, things were happening, people were laughing, there was clapping. I didn't hear shit, but I took the photos and they look great. Like, I could not have tell you like what happened.
I think this is a good point in this conversation to bring up the whole idea that okay, let me start over. There are a ton of extremely talented photographers and videographers and wedding vendors that seemingly popped out of nowhere and have only been in the industry a couple years, but they're extremely talented, and I don't knock any of that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no matter how good they are, there is zero replacement for experience.
Yeah.
Meaning, they actually been able to work the amount of weddings that the worst possible thing can happen on a wedding day, and they've done so many weddings that they can go on autopilot and still get shit done.
And do it well. Like, I'm not, I don't know if that's like a good thing to say, but like.
But it's not.
It is, but it is and it's not. Like,
you can be good, but good with no experience is not the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to describe other than how I am. It's like literally my body, and I would say my mind, but like not my mind because I wasn't fully there, just like went on autopilot. Like, I was able to just do it. And then, we had dinner. I don't even know if I was able to eat. Like, I can't even remember that part. And then we had open dancing. That was difficult because obviously it was loud. We both had headaches. Like, that was rough. And we finished our coverage. And
Mom picked us up.
Yeah. Yeah. Candace offered, like, she literally passes our house on the way to her house, and she was like, I will take you guys home. Like, it's obviously on my way. Like, it's not a big deal. And I literally was like, Candace, I really appreciate you, but I really just want my mommy. I was like,
when you say your mommy, you mean my mom?
I mean Alex's mommy. But I was like, I really just like, I need to just be with family. And I was like really anxious to see her. So,
but also gear. So
yeah, we had like all of our stuff.
I had some mom to bring Dad's truck.
Yeah, we had all of our gear. So, yeah, it was probably
the second hardest thing you dealt with at a wedding, or the first hardest. Do you think that beats out the other one?
You know what? It might. And for
we
those... We
talked about this.
It probably does. And what Alex is referring to is in 2017 when my dad passed, he was on life support. And I put him on life support.
You didn't put him on life support. The hospital did.
Well, the hospital put him on life support.
Until they contacted us and we knew where he was.
Yeah, and he wasn't actually supposed to be on life support. He did not want that. And I can't remember I should look up the dates in 2017, but I had a doubleheader wedding that weekend. And with he had his accident, it happened, and then I was like, and that was in the beginning of my career. So I was like, I literally am contracted to shoot a wedding. I think it was a Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
So it must have been like a Wednesday or a Thursday.
No, it was a Tuesday because his accident was the day after your birthday on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And you probably had a wedding on the 2nd and 3rd. So all this time, like he had his health directive that you were the power of attorney for,
mm-hmm.
but we didn't know this part, and the doctors had to explain it, that it's open to interpretation when somebody says they don't want to be on life support, and what
that entails, because there's so many different levels and things that go into it.
How does he want to live and how does he not want to live? Like, is he okay if he is just wheelchair bound the rest of his life?
And he had I really don't want to super dive into it, but he had a traumatic brain injury, so that's very complex. Things can improve, things cannot improve, you don't know, and basically you have to give it time. So I was willing to give it time. I wanted to give it time, obviously. If my dad was able to talk, he'd probably be like, take me off these fucking machines.
Probably.
But anyway, I was like, we're going to give it some time, because also I have these 2 weddings on Friday and Saturday. Let's give him the best chance possible. I'll get through this weekend and then we'll figure it out. So with that being said, I had to shoot those 2 weddings knowing pretty certainly that my dad was going to be passing away when I was done. I had to take calls from doctors
during
wedding days. And I told my clients these things. I was very transparent with them. And I brought I had a second photographer, but then I brought an additional person to step in for me when I had to step out and take phone calls from his doctors and surgeons and things like that.
I wasn't shooting with you at the time, and
yeah.
I went to one of the weddings just to be there.
Yeah.
In case.
So that was, as you can imagine, incredibly difficult, especially small moments where I'm photographing father-daughter dance, knowing that my dad's probably going to pass away in the next 48 to 72 hours. Things like that. It was just very, very, very hard. With that being said, I do feel like that set me up to be able to handle situations like this car accident. But I knew, with my dad's situation, I went into those wedding days
mentally
preparing myself. This is going to be a really hard day. These are the things that you're going to have to worry about. And I had my shit together on how I was going to navigate those days. When something like a car accident happens out of nowhere, you can't prepare for that. So it rattled me in a different way. And I think that because of the just randomness of it, and I wasn't prepared, it shook me up just a little bit more in a different way that I had not previously experienced.
Because you're not able to control it. It's a wedding day, and you like to have the ability to control what you need to do on a wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, you literally lose that full ability.
Yeah. Yeah. So. But
that just gets back experience, and it's unfortunate that you had to deal with that in 2017, but that is an experience that you were able to use to help get you through this situation. However, that's not really what I'm saying as far as the experience helps you get past it. It's more that you've done so many weddings.
Oh, yeah.
That you could do one in your sleep if you had to.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we did, because mentally our brains were just on autopilot, because when something traumatic happens, that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, I'm sure that there are other wedding professionals out there who have had similar experiences. Or worse, God forbid. But if you have, then you know how maybe we were feeling. And I mean, the first couple weddings back after that, I had a lot of anxiety. Like,
driving in general,
we both had a little bit of anxiety.
And I had to drive in Dallas when we went to Dallas after that. Mm-hmm. And like, and we're
intersections were like
in a city
so
that
scary.
We're not familiar with.
Yeah.
Like, you're approaching an intersection and you slow down and look 96 times back and forth just to make sure nobody's going to go through that intersection.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a lot.
And I love driving. So that was,
me too.
It was really difficult to, I mean, there's still occasions where I'll approach an intersection and still hesitate pretty dramatically.
Same.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
I think it's also, we didn't mention this, but like, we did mention the team thing, but our team. Mm-hmm. But like, in the wedding industry, everybody on the wedding day, regardless of whether they're on your team or your vendor or not, is a team.
Yeah.
The caterers, the band or DJ, the planners, the florist, everyone is on the same team.
Yeah.
And when something like this happens, it doesn't just affect you, it affects the entire team, which is why Sabrina came in clutch and was like, I'm handling this, came and got us, talked us down a little bit. Apparently she's been in an accident on a wedding day before.
Yeah.
Wasn't near as bad as this, but she has experienced it. So it was extremely helpful that she's like, I get it.
Yeah.
But because she knew about it, the entire team was ready to just like help. And the whole, it's not my job thing. Like, it's not her job to pick us up.
No.
But it's what needed to be done.
Yeah. She was literally a saving grace. And also, like, her energy, I really don't want to get emotional. Ick.
You know how many times you've been emotional on this podcast?
I know, it's annoying.
What? You don't want to say it? You can't say it? Let it out. I'm not sure what you're going to say.
Just like thinking back, it's just like, it's a lot. Brick. 2 seconds. Her energy was just really like warm and supportive. Son of a bitch.
You're fine. It was helpful. Her energy was very helpful for the situation. And that's kind of what you need. Like, there are vendors that are just very cold.
I need a minute. What the fuck? I'm fine. I'm back. What I was saying is, like, her energy and everything was just so helpful. Literally felt like a mother, a family member. I just adore her.
There you go again.
I know. We're gonna move on. Frick.
Anyway, what are the take home points for this? Takeaway points.
You go. Give me a minute.
I gave some already.
Give me a minute.
Did you write anything down?
No.
You didn't write
I took some notes. Look, I took some notes. I can't take all the notes.
You didn't write anything down? I thought you wrote things down. I thought you wrote down
did.
takeaways.
I wrote down team mentality, which we touched on that just a little bit. And being professional but human. Yeah,
that's a good one. Shit happens. And it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's going to continue to happen. And you might get the worst part of it.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, that is one thing. So we had... when we got there, I didn't talk about this. When we got there, the couple had wanted to do some portraits outside of the venue. And so when we got there and we went in, we touched base. Alex had his anxiety attack. All that stuff happened. We did some of the details. And then I finally was like, okay, I feel okay enough to get in front of my couple again, because I had not seen them. They've been in cocktail hour. But I knew that they wanted photos outside and during cocktail hour. So I was like, all right, let's go get them. And I told Alex to sit this one out. Me and Jaron, we're going to go ahead and take care of this. And me and Jaron walk outside first to kind of game plan on what kind of shots that we want to get. And he was like, are you going to tell him? And I was like, well, I don't know if they know yet. Obviously, like, some guests know, the parents know, but I didn't know if they knew. My initial reaction is like, no, I'm not telling them. They don't need to know that.
It's their wedding day. You don't need to burden them with this.
It's their wedding day. I don't need to burden them with that. Like, that's not something that is, you know, like, we're going to be able to do our jobs and we're going to be able to do it well. And I know that for certain right now. So I felt like it wasn't something that I needed to mention to them because I didn't want them to worry about it. And he was like, and Jaron was like, well, I think a lot of the guests know. And like, I just think that maybe you should say something in case they do find out from somebody else. And I was like, okay, you're probably right. I was like, I don't want them to like hear it from somebody else and it get taken the wrong way or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll just tell them. So I took the opportunity to tell them in private during these portraits, and they were shocked. They were like, why are you literally here? And I was like, Julia, if I'm walking, talking, breathing, I'm going to be here. Like, so is Alex. Like, if we are capable of doing our jobs, not only do we want to, but we're going to do it. Like, we know how important this day is.
It's not lost on us, the fact that this day is only happening once.
Yeah. Like, if I was incapable of doing it, I wouldn't have done it. But I was capable. So, full send.
If they had hit us 2 feet further back, probably wouldn't have been.
No, and that's like another thing that I was going to bring up. We just hadn't gotten to it yet. But they were just like, are you sure that you don't want to go home? And I was like, dude, no. Like, we're here, we're fine. And they were like obviously very appreciative. And I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, at that time I was like, it's not a big deal. It was quite a large deal, but I was trying to downplay it for them on their day. And I was like, we're going to have a great rest of the evening. Like, it's going to be totally fine. And it was, but you know, behind closed doors, it was a struggle. But we got through it. And then what did you just say? Oh yeah. So when we were able to go and like look at the car and analyze it, we brought a friend with us.
Yep.
You can go ahead and talk about this because I don't know anything about this stuff.
So, I mean, he's a mechanic friend, so him and I do car stuff all the time. But we wanted to look at it just to kind of see what we thought about like the mechanical side of what was the problem. We knew it was probably totaled because regardless of that, the car has a ton of sensors in it, and so panels are expensive to replace. But we wanted to look at it, and I knew this before we even left the scene of the accident in the first place.
Yeah, because the wheel was like this.
Yeah, they hit us right in the front driver's side wheel well, right at the edge of it, and almost to the driver door. Had we gotten to that intersection, I don't know, 2 seconds later than we did, he would have hit us
right in my door.
Or sorry, 2 seconds sooner than we did. He would have hit Veronica right in the door. She probably would have some broken bones or had to been, like, the door would not have opened. She would have been injured.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah.
And just by the grace of God, it did not happen that way.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we got home from the wedding that night, and like I mentioned, I had like shed a few tears, but nothing really like that, like crazy. But we sat down, you know, we had showered. I just wanted to decompress on the couch. And it was like the first time I had sat like in silence, and just really had the opportunity to breathe and not have to be a wedding professional. And I lost my shit. Like I was like scream crying because I was like, I literally could have died today. I felt like I had just had like a near-death experience because had they hit, like Alex said, had they hit us just a couple inches back.
It was more than a couple inches.
I mean, but it was...
Yeah, it wasn't significant.
It could have been really bad. Like, it could have been very bad. And so I just felt incredibly lucky to be alive. It was very like an overwhelming experience with that whole scenario alone. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but that was that.
Yep. I mean, I don't know what you're going to say about it. I mean, I think going where you wanted to probably go with that is that it could have been far worse than it was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are people out there that have experienced far worse.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had an accident that they were not able to walk away from like we were and they missed something like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
not sure. We wanted to like kind of like talk about like our takeaways from it. And Alex kind of like touched on that already, you know, as a business owner, like you can be as prepared as possible, be pre-prepared. And that is one of the reasons why we always have a second photographer and second videographer. And I think had we not already made the decision, like that's just how we roll, this would have been like the thing that would have been like, we will never not have assistants with us on a wedding day because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
You never know. So that's like one of the biggest things I think that was like the overall takeaway from us is just like having a team, but also having a team that you can fully trust is so important. Like we've said, and like you guys know, like these are days that cannot be redone. These are days that you can't take back. So making sure that you have your shit together and that as much as possible and that you can plan for the worst is super important.
Yeah, you can plan for the worst, but then not actually know what's going to happen. Like, we could plan for the worst, but did I ever think that this was going to happen to us? No. Obviously, because I had no idea what happened when it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I think we're blessed also that we do have a select group of people that assist us on wedding days that have been doing so since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And they've worked so many weddings with us that they could be us in a situation that we aren't there.
And specifically, you know, just like Candace and Jaron are amazing. They're such a godsend and they're obviously very good at their jobs, but those two, you know, on that, I couldn't have asked for anybody better than those two on that day. They really just were so helpful, and we just knew that they would be able to take care of the day the way that we would. So shout out to y'all.
You could kind of tell when they knew that what had happened. When I handed off the gear to Jaron when he came back, you could tell like his mindset just immediately shifted. Like, not just in our minds was it we got to take care of business. It was I got to take care of business. Mm-hmm.
And Candace was the same way. She immediately like. I think Candace knows me pretty well, and I just adore that girl. When I walked in, she didn't ask me if I was okay right away. Obviously, she did ask me if I was okay, but not right away. She was like, "Hey, I did A, B, C, and D." And like, she was just like telling me all the things that she already did because she knows if she asks me or hug me, I'm gonna like break down.
But you're gonna want to go do those things.
But
if she didn't
yeah, so she was like, "Veronica's gonna want to be in work mode. Like that's gonna be the best thing for her because she knows me well." And she was like, "Hey, you don't need to worry about it because I already got all of this. So if you want to go and sit down and take a breather or whatever, like I got you, I got it taken care of." And then, you know, a few minutes into the conversation, she was like, "Are you okay though?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But yeah, so I adore them both and they are amazing.
They're not allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah. So
we keep rambling at this point.
Yeah, that is the story of
our wedding day nightmare. Our
wedding day nightmare. Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that it doesn't ever happen to anybody else.
Yeah, for real.
It was terrible. Terrible. And I hope it never happens again. But, you know, shit happens, life happens, and
roll with the punches.
Yeah. And we are very lucky with how everything ended up. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say about this.
That's all I have to say about that.
And I knew we wanted to make this its own podcast episode because, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
I got nothing. I didn't say a whole lot this episode.
No, you didn't. I just talked a whole bunch, and I already have the sniffles, and like you made me cry. And
I didn't make you cry.
Yeah, huh?
You made you cry.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoy that story.
Enjoyed the story.
I don't know, guys. It was a crazy, crazy freaking day. And we're happy to be alive. We're happy to have the team that we did, and everything worked out. But yeah, that was a crazy experience. So we really don't have anything else to say. We just wanted to share our story with you.
Tell us your stories.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear how bad other people have had it and how you approached the situation and got through the situation and how it ended up. Not for negative things, but just to have a conversation.
Maybe we should do like an open forum thing of like put in your worst wedding day nightmare or something like that.
Yeah, do it on YouTube, on the comment section on YouTube on this video.
Yeah. I think it would be like fun to put like a box up on social media, and then we can read everybody's stuff.
Like in another episode?
Yeah.
That's fine. We can do that. When this airs, we'll put that out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. I promise I won't cry on the next one. Maybe. I don't know what we're talking about. But I don't plan to cry. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. You stay classy, San Diego.
I was like, wait, what's the next line? Stay classy, San Diego. All right,
thanks
y'all.
for stopping by.
Yeah, and thanks for stopping by. Oh my God. Okay. All right, that's it. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.